Hello everyone and welcome to my little corner of the internet. My name's Michael and I'm bitten by a radioactive book. Today is Monday and that means review time on my channel, and I'm going to review Theft of Swords by Michael J. Sullivan, the first in the Rairia Revelation series. Michael J. Sullivan is one of the success stories of indie publishing. He self-published his first books of the Raiera Revelations and they were a huge success. And afterwards he got a publishing deal out of it, and the first books were rebound together in larger volumes. And the first of this is Theft of Swords, and it contains the first two books of the series called The Crown Conspiracy and Avamparta. Our two main protagonists in the series are Hadrian and Royce. They are two thieves, but they have like different qualities. Hadrian is more the straight-up fighter, a mercenary type, a very good sword fighter. Royce is more like the cunning thief, the one that deals with the locks and operates more from the shadow. I don't think that the usual sword and sorcery like division of brains versus brawns is actually applicable here, because both characters have like their fighting skills and both characters have some sort of intelligence. There are differences between their intelligence, but Hadrian is not some kind of barbarian, for example, or dumb mercenary. I really like the interaction between the characters themselves. Hadrian is more of the good-hearted guy that wants to do good, and Royce is more of the pragmatic one. But you see that Royce also has a good heart, and sometimes he even just uses Hadrian as an excuse so he can save pragmatic face, but between the lines you can see that he actually wants to do the good thing himself as well. What is really interesting is that the series itself is some kind of answer to the more grimdark movement we were seeing in fantasy over the last decade. So most of the fantasy of the 80s or 90s followed a bit of a Tolkien kind of pattern. Of course, there was a lot to discover and there were a lot of different things, but the prejudice that you could get in the 80s or 90s were that a lot of it was very formulaic and tailored towards the Tolkien kind of audience. And of course, in the wake of series like A Song of Ice and Fire by George R. R. Martin, The Malazan Book of the Fallen by Stephen Erickson, Glenn Cook's Black Company series, I think, even though that started even earlier, we went more into a grimdark kind of fantasy, where a lot of the now popular authors like Joe Abercrombie or Mark Lawrence got their inspiration from, and now we're doing more bleak worlds, more grey characters. The hero stories are a bit gone, and Michael J. Sullivan actually thought, why not bring them back, but do something to them that shows that the hero fantasy genre has grown. And he really succeeded in that, so it reads a bit like a modern fantasy classic, because it has some kind of very classic sword and sorcery elements, but you can see by the way that it is written that Michael J. Sullivan knows where the genre was and where he wants it to be, and he avoids a lot of the more tropey and cliche traps that other genres or other books in that time period had, while still using some of the staple elements of classical fantasy. And I think that is a huge achievement, and I was a bit hesitant before I started this, because I wasn't sure if that would work out, but it is really, really enjoyable. And it's also quite interesting to see the development he takes as a writer between like the first and the second book. I think the first book has some flaws, the second one as well, but you can see like a progress in the writing that is already there between the first and the second book. I read this book together with a few other booktubers, and one of the main complaints, or maybe the only real complaint we actually had, was that it was often kind of hard to retain all the information about the world building, because the world building is like thrown in there in kinds of chunks, and then you often don't retain everything from it. But apart from that, in regards of plot, of characters, and the world building itself, then it is really, really good. So I rated both like 4 stars. The first one is maybe a weak 4-star, the second one is a stronger 4-star, but I heard that the next 2 books will be even better, so I'm really looking forward to read way more Michael J. Sullivan next year. And I wanted to thank Sam from Novels and Nonsense, who encouraged me to pick this series up and read it with her enthusiasm for Michael J. Sullivan's books. So, that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please hit the like button. If you want to see more of me, subscribe to my channel. If you want to know what's coming up on my channel, look inside the description box. There's a little segment there called On the Horizon. I wish you a good day and hope you get bitten by a really good book too. Bye.